The root is yellow-crowned, hollow-stemmed, and it bleeds white when you break it. You have seen it 10,000 times. You have probably pulled it out of the ground with your bare hands and thrown it away. It grows in sidewalk cracks, in the margins of parking lots, in the unmowed corners of fields that no one tends. It weighs almost nothing. It looks like something that belongs nowhere. And inside that root, that unremarkable, dirt-covered, universally discarded root, there are 4 distinct pharmacologically active compounds, an antioxidant profile that outmeasures the blueberry you paid $6 for at the farmer's market, and a paper trail that runs from medieval European apothecaries to a current entry in the National Cancer Institute's database of compounds under active investigation. Welcome to the vault. The story was always in the ground. You were just never handed a shovel. Right now, somewhere in a health food store near you, there is a bottle of prebiotic supplement on a shelf. It costs between $30 and $50 for a 30-day supply. The active ingredient listed on the label is inulin. The marketing copy describes it as a cutting-edge gut health compound derived from chicory root. What the label does not tell you is that inulin is also one of the primary storage carbohydrates in the root of Taraxacum officinale, the common dandelion, the plant you sprayed with herbicide last April. The average American household spends an estimated $40 to $60 per month on antioxidant and prebiotic supplement products. Independent nutritional analysis published in the journal Plant Foods for Human Nutrition measured the ORAC value, the standardized antioxidant capacity score, of dried dandelion root at figures that exceed commercially sold blueberry powder gram for gram. You are paying a premium for the isolated version of something that volunteers itself in your soil every single spring, and the gap between what you are spending and what you are standing on is not an accident. It has a history. That history has dates. The documented use of Taraxacum officinale in structured medicine begins no later than the 10th century, when the Persian physician Ibn Sina, known in the Western canon as Avicenna, described its use for liver and gallbladder conditions in the Canon of Medicine, a text that remained the primary medical reference in European universities until the 17th century. This is not folk tradition. This is a primary source that sat in medical school libraries for 700 years. By the 15th century, dandelion root preparations appear in the official pharmacopoeias of multiple European nations, meaning they were not fringe remedies, they were regulated medicines with documented dispensing protocols. Then comes the 20th century, and the story changes direction. In 1942, the USDA launched the Emergency Rubber Project, which briefly explored Taraxacum sagas, Russian dandelion, as a domestic rubber source during wartime shortages, demonstrating that federal agricultural science had detailed knowledge of the genus and its extractable compounds. That program was discontinued when synthetic rubber production scaled. The knowledge was shelved, not published into public nutritional guidance. In 1984, and the German Commission E, the regulatory body that assessed herbal medicines for the German Federal Institute for Drugs and Medical Devices, formally approved dandelion root and herb as a treatment for disturbances of bile flow, loss of appetite, and dyspepsia. This is a government approval, a documented regulatory act in a G7 nation. It did not migrate into American dietary guidance. In 2011, a controlled human trial conducted at the University of Michigan and published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine confirmed significant diuretic activity from standardized dandelion leaf extract, with urinary frequency and volume increasing measurably following each of 2 doses administered. The study called for further clinical investigation. That call has been answered with near silence in the decades since. Meanwhile, the synthetic diuretic market in the United States generates approximately $5 billion in annual pharmaceutical revenue. In 2016, researchers at the University of Windsor in Ontario published findings in evidence-based complementary and alternative medicine demonstrating that dandelion root extract induced apoptosis, programmed cell death, in human melanoma cell lines without inducing toxicity in non-cancerous cells. The NCI database currently lists dandelion root extract among compounds cataloged for further oncological investigation. No large-scale human trials have followed. Yet. Now look at what the root actually contains. because the chemistry is where the story becomes impossible to dismiss. 4 compounds. 1 root, inulin. Up to 40% of dried dandelion root by weight is inulin. Inulin is a soluble prebiotic fiber that feeds bifidobacterium and lactobacillus species in the colon, the same bacterial populations targeted by premium probiotic regimens costing $30 a bottle. The mechanism is direct and documented. Inulin resists enzymatic digestion in the small intestine and arrives intact in the large intestine, where it selectively stimulates beneficial bacterial proliferation, as measured in controlled microbiome studies published in the British Journal of Nutrition. Luteolin, present in measurable concentrations in both root and leaf. Luteolin is a flavonoid that inhibits the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, including TNF-alpha and IL-6, through documented interference with the NF-κB signaling pathway, the same pathway targeted by multiple patented anti-inflammatory pharmaceuticals currently on the U.S. market. Luteolin supplements sell commercially for between $15 and $30 per bottle. The compound is available freely in the root you pulled from your garden. Taraxacirin and taraxacin. And these sesquiterpene lactones are responsible for the root's documented bitter principle and its historically recorded cholagogue effect, meaning they stimulate bile production and flow, directly supporting hepatic function. The mechanism has been documented in peer-reviewed literature since the 1950s. They are not synthesized cheaply. They are not patented. They grow in disturbed soil on every continent except Antarctica. Beta-carotene. Gram for gram. Dried dandelion root contains more beta-carotene than raw carrot. This has been in the nutritional literature since 1980. It did not make the superfood marketing cycle. Ask yourself why the carrot did. The global inulin market was valued at approximately $1.5 billion in 2023 and is projected to exceed $2 billion by 2026, according to market research filings available through Grandview Research and Allied Market Research. The primary commercial extraction source is chicory root, a close botanical relative of dandelion. The extraction process is industrial. The markup between raw plant and retail supplement is, conservatively, several thousand%. The global lawn care industry generates approximately $105 billion annually. A substantial portion of that revenue flows from herbicide products specifically marketed for broadleaf weed control. Taraxacum officinale is the primary target species on the packaging of the most widely sold residential broadleaf herbicides in North America. The active ingredient in many of these products is 2,4-D, a synthetic auxin herbicide. The manufacturer of the most widely distributed 2,4-D lawn herbicide in the United States has, in separate regulatory filings before the EPA, provided data supporting the compound's continued residential approval. The same spring that those herbicides are applied, inulin extraction facilities in Belgium and the Netherlands are harvesting the same plant genus at industrial scale for sale back to American consumers at supplement prices. So, who profits when the plant stays classified as a pest? And who loses when you learn what it actually is? Here is what you can do today, and none of it requires a prescription. Dandelion root is unscheduled in all 50 U.S. states. It is legal to harvest, prepare, and consume. It is not a controlled substance. It is not a regulated supplement ingredient requiring a license to grow. If you have access to unsprayed land, a lawn, a field margin, a garden bed that has not been treated with herbicide or synthetic fertilizer for at least one growing season, you can harvest your own root, and the best time to do it is October. This is not arbitrary. October is when the plant pulls its maximum inulin stores down from the leaves and stem into the root for winter. In every commercial inulin extractor times their harvest to the same biological window. The difference is they do not tell you why October matters. Dig the full taproot. It can run 6 to 12 inches deep in undisturbed soil. Scrub it clean, slice it thin, and roast the slices at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 30 minutes until the flesh darkens and the kitchen carries a smell somewhere between coffee and toasted grain. That is the inulin caramelizing. Steep 1 tablespoon of the roasted root in 12 ounces of boiling water for 10 minutes. What you have is a compound that, in the University of Michigan trial, produced measurable physiological effects at 2 doses. This is not medical advice, and if you are taking pharmaceutical diuretics or blood thinners, speak with a clinician before adding concentrated dandelion preparations to your routine, because the documented biological activity is real and interactions are possible. That caveat is not a disclaimer inserted to protect anyone. It is there because the plant works, and things that work require attention. If you cannot self-harvest, certified organic dried dandelion root is available through Mountain Rose Herbs and several other verified bulk herb suppliers at approximately $5 to $12 per pound, enough for months of daily preparation at a fraction of the supplement aisle price. The root you once pulled and discarded, and the thing you treated as a problem to be solved. It was always the answer to a question the supplement industry preferred you never think to ask. That is the reframe this video exists to deliver. Not that medicine is hiding in your garden as some romantic metaphor, but that it is literally, chemically, documentably there. And the systems that profit from your not knowing that are not shadowy or theoretical. They are publicly traded. They file quarterly earnings reports. They have lobbyists with office addresses. The biology was never the mystery. The mystery was always institutional. And now you have the timeline. A weed is not a category of plant. It is a category of economics. The dandelion was not classified as worthless because it is worthless. It was classified as worthless in the same decade that its extracted compounds began generating patent revenue. Hold that sequence in your mind the next time you walk across a lawn in April. Share this video with the person who is currently spending $40 a month on a prebiotic supplement because they deserve to know where inulin actually comes from and what the markup is built on. If that knowledge belongs to you, it belongs to the person next to you who hasn't found it yet. And sharing it costs nothing, which is exactly what the plant costs when you know where to look. Subscribe to this channel because this dandelion is one entry in a much longer suppressed file, and each entry follows the same pattern: documented chemistry, institutional silence, and a financial architecture that only makes sense if you never connect the dots. The next file in this vault is a grass, not a root, not a leaf, a grass. It was used in military field hospitals during 2 separate world wars. It is currently prescribed in 4 countries for conditions that would surprise you, and it is illegal to sell as a food supplement in the United States. The root was just the beginning.